Hello there guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 5 video on my channel. So we're in the second week of Series 34 Horizon Retrowave. It is the autumn storm season and I am back with another full festival playlist walkthrough for you for the season, where we have 72 points available. We've got a brand new car for 20 points and a 40-point reward, which we'll talk about in just a second. And we'll be covering all of the events in this week's festival playlist, starting with the Forzathon events, moving over to the season events, then over to challenges, monthly events, and finally finishing off with the expansion events. We'll be covering all the challenges. I'll be talking about them, giving you information that you'll need to know before completing them. I'll also give you suggested cars and tunes for some of the challenges. There'll also be some gameplay as well for things like the PR Stunts, the treasure hunt, and other things like that. So there's lots to be packed into this video, and nothing will be missed out. And if you want to skip to certain parts of the video, you can use the chapters that will be in the description. They are usually edited into the description within 24 hours of upload or there and thereabouts, depending on whether or depending on when me or one of my channel moderators gets around to doing them. Because obviously these videos take a while, so sometimes I can't do them straight away, and one of the channel mods, it's usually Dobra, that sends me them over within 24 hours, so massive thank you to him as usual. So before we jump into the playlist and its events, obviously we'll be working through this in chronological order, so that means, you know, we start on the left, we finish on the right. But I'd also like to say that if you do have any extra questions or things that I haven't mentioned in this video that you'd like to know, or you need a bit of extra help with, then of course I'm there in the comments. If you want to leave a comment down below, I'll reply to it. It won't be straight away unless I'm already online, but I'll usually reply to it within a day with any information that you need. So you can ask questions in there, or you can just comment about the video. Constructive criticism is welcome, but of course be nice, because a lot of effort does go into these videos. I don't mind suggestions, but obviously make them constructive. And any, you know, things that you can suggest for future videos, or even stuff to do with how I lay out these videos will be helpful. And alternatively, you can contact me on Xbox or Discord as well if you need any assistance. My Xbox gamer tag is in the top left, Shylo 2017 with a capital S. My Discord username is Shylo 2017 with a lowercase s. So hopefully you'll be able to find me using those things. Now, before we get tucked into the festival playlist events, we're going to take a quick look at the rewards for the season and the series, so you know what you're looking, you know what you're aiming for, and then we will jump straight into the Forzathon section. Starting off with the seasonal rewards, as always, we've got the 20 point and the 40 points reward, and as I mentioned, it is out of a total of 72 points for the whole season, so each of the weeks of this series are 72 points, and that means that the total for the series is 288 points, which we'll come to in just a second. So for 20 points, we've got the brand new to Forza Horizon 5 BMW M6 from 1986. I am not sure whether this car has appeared in any previous Horizon or Motorsport games. However, it's definitely the first time that it's appeared in Horizon 5, and it definitely wasn't in Horizon 4, because I've played that game quite a lot and do not remember seeing this car at all. Looks like quite a cool car, looking forward to getting hold of it. I reckon it'll be a nice cruise car, maybe not so good for racing, but we'll see what it is capable of. And that is an exclusive reward, so currently the only way you can access that car is by playing this festival playlist, or in the auction if you're lucky enough to be able to snipe one. Moving off to 40 points, we've got another BMW. It is the 850 CSI, previously seen in Horizon 4. I think it was introduced into the Horizon series in Horizon 4. It then wasn't in the start of Horizon 5, but it was added a couple of months ago, and it is returning here for 40 points. So that is also an exclusive reward, so you can only buy that in the auction, not in the auto show. Or you can unlock it here for 40 points. And the 20 point reward maybe take you 20-30 minutes, and the 40 point reward hopefully less than an hour, maybe 45 minutes, depending on what challenges you choose to complete and in what order. Then moving over to the series, 288 point total, as I mentioned, for the Horizon Retrowave series. And obviously you can build up these points across all of the weeks. So you may get more points in some weeks than in others, and all the points that you get across the 4 weeks will be added onto this series total. For 80 points across the series, we've got a brand new to Forza car in the form of the Hyundai Envision 74 from 2022. Obviously, it is basically the cover car of this series. A very retro themed but modern car. And really looking forward to getting my hands on that. I only got 41 points last season, so I'll probably be able to unlock it this week in autumn, although you may have already been able to access it yourself if you completed all of last week's events and the monthly events as well, which we'll come to later in this video. And then for 160 points, we've got the DeLorean DMC-12, another classic there. I think it's the second time it's appeared in the festival playlist since it was introduced near the start of the game. And that is your hard to find legendary reward once you've completed quite a lot of the series, so you may be able to get that in winter or spring. So now we will move on to the Forzathon section of the autumn season and make a start on our chronological workthrough of this playlist. For this Forzathon section then, as always, we have a weekly Forzathon challenge. We've got 7 daily Forzathon challenges which will release across the week, which we'll talk about later, and we've got a Horizon Forzathon shop as well, where you can spend your well-earned Forzathon points from the other challenges. So as always, we will start with the Forzathon weekly challenge, and that is called this week Quattro Valvole. I think that's how you would pronounce that. Apologies if I've butchered that pronunciation, but something along those lines, I think. This will get you 5 points towards your festival playlist total for the season, and it will also get you a bunch of Forzathon points. That will be 84 some points as standard. It will then double to 160, like you can see on my screen, if you own the La Casa Solariga Playhouse, because that Playhouse grants you double Forzathon points in every Forzathon related event. So there's obviously the events in this Forzathon section, but you also get Forzathon points for completing each round of Horizon Arcade, and they will be doubled if you own this house. And I believe also when you get Forzathon points for things like the treasure hunt, it will double those as well. So it's definitely a very beneficial house to own. It comes free with the VIP pass, so if you own the VIP pass either on its own or part of the premium add-ons bundle, you'll get that house for free. Otherwise, it's probably a couple of million credits to purchase, and definitely a good house to buy, especially if you like purchasing cars in the shop, which we'll look at for this week later. Now, moving over to the chapters for this challenge, Chapter 1 is called Final Evolution, and it wants you to own and drive the 1988 Lamborghini Countach LP5000 QV. So QV, I'm assuming, is why the Forzathon challenge is called Quattro Valvole, because I'm assuming that's what that stands for. But in other words, you just need to own the Lamborghini Countach, the one that we all know, the retro one, but not the one that we earned last season, the 2021 Countach, the newer one, but the original Countach, and you need to purchase that. It can be purchased from the auto show. You may find it cheaper in the auction house, depending on how the prices fluctuate. And sometimes these cars can also be found in the festival playlist as well. It looks like we haven't got it this week, but sometimes the developers hide the Forzathon car within the rewards of some of the other things as well. So that's definitely something to look out for in general with these festival playlists. You can also sometimes get them, and they can also sometimes appear in the Forzathon shop as well. So whichever way you purchase this car, you need to get in it and drive it. Once you've done so, you may wish to pop a tune on it, which you can do right now if you want to. If you want to download one of mine, I've created one. It should be shared, and it is called Forzathon, so nice and simple. You can use my gamer tag, or I will also pop the tune menu and the share code up on screen round about now so that you can see what the share code is if you prefer to use that. For some reason my game doesn't like share codes, but if your game accepts them, then you can use the share code. I won't be showing share codes for all of the tunes that I show in this video, but unless I state otherwise, they will be made by me, and they will be displayed by screenshots. I'll do a voiceover if there's anything I need to say, otherwise I'll just let the screenshots roll in between the events so you can see which cars I am suggesting. So once you're in your car, you've popped a tune on it, you can move on to the subsequent chapters, and the second chapter is Refined Form, which wants you to win a street race. Now this is hopefully nice and simple, although street racing is personally my least favourite division of racing because of the AI and quite often in the night and stuff like that. But it may be your cup of tea more than it is mine. So all you need to do is enter a street race, which you can do by finding them on the map. And you can filter your map to make things easier, like I've done here. So if you filter your map to street racing, you can then pick one. Doesn't matter which you pick, but if you like me, you might want to try and pick one that looks the shortest or the easiest, and then you just need to win it. So obviously you need to beat all the AI. And you can also lower the driver tar difficulty so that the AI aren't as fast. so you can lower it all the way down to tourist if you want to, because there's no limit on what difficulty you use for this Forzathon challenge. And then hopefully you will win that, and you'll be able to move on to Chapter 3, Race Collectible. Not Race Collectible, I've read that wrong, Rare Collectible. And that wants you to simply drive for 5 miles. Now, 5 miles, I believe, is 9 kilometres, or there and thereabouts, roughly, it translates to. So whichever metric unit you use in the game, you just need to drive for 5 miles, 9 kilometres or whatever. The quickest way to do that is probably to go up and down the highway. I'm not quite sure how long the highway is, but you probably maybe need to do 1 or 2 lengths of the highway. And obviously having a tune on will make your life quicker when you are doing that. Alternatively, you might want to take it for a scenic drive around the coast or whatever. It's completely up to you. But then once you've driven for that specified distance, the final chapter pop icon will need you to earn 3 stars from speed traps. So make sure you don't get it confused with speed zones, and the way you can help that is by filtering your map to speed traps only, and then you won't be confused with the speed zones because the icons are quite similar on the map. And then you just need to pick any speed trap, or you can use multiple. It's completely up to you. If you don't get 3 stars the first time, you can go back and do it again, either on the same speed trap, or you can pick different speed traps. It's completely up to you. Whichever way you do it, just get a total of 3 stars in your Lamborghini Countach, and you'll have completed the Forzathon Weekly Challenge Quattro Valvole. The second event of the first section of this week's festival playlist is the daily challenges, of which there are 7, and there's 7 of them, and they release 1 per day for the entire 7 days of the season. They also each last for 7 days, which means that 6 of them, with the exception of the first one, will overlap into the winter season, and then of course the winter season will overlap into the spring, and there's a high possibility that you'll still have some of the ones from summer, like I have here, that have overlapped into this season. So that is just how it works. A lot of 7s involved, but hopefully that makes sense. Because it means that you don't necessarily have to jump on and complete them every day. You can let a few of them unlock and then complete them in batches, or sometimes when I usually only complete up to 40 points to get the 2 rewards, and you might need a couple more points depending on what other events you've done to get that 40 points, and you can maybe use the daily challenges to do that. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on them because they're usually quite simple. But just for example, with the first one, drive any retro supercar for the poster car challenge. You just need to filter in your garage to retro supercars, pick one, and then just drive it. Very simple. There's no distance or anything involved. You don't need to go anywhere specific, so hopefully that should be quite simple. Second one, earn 2 stars at speed traps in the Ford Escort from 1986. As long as you make sure you're in the right car and you're doing speed traps and not speed zones, that should hopefully be fairly simple. And hopefully the same principles apply to the other ones. But if you do have any difficulty completing them throughout the week as they pop up, just let me know in the comments, Xbox or Discord, as I mentioned earlier. Whichever way you want to contact me, let me know what it is, let me know what you need, whether it's a tune, you don't know what location it is or anything, and I can help you out with that. But we won't spend any more time on those daily challenges for this video. We can now conclude this primary section of the playlist by taking a look at the Forzathon shop. We can cast our attention over to the 2 reward cars in here, which are both Porsches, and there's also a couple of outfits and a moat this week instead of a car horn. So the Porsche 959 is what they call your hot deal, which you can get for 600 Forzathon points. I believe that this car is, I think it's around 2.5 million in the auto show, so it's completely up to you whether you prefer to spend credits or you'd prefer to spend Forzathon points. Personally, I've got quite a few Forzathon points lying around, so I would probably prefer to use them. However, I've also got over 500 million credits, so it doesn't really matter to me. But if you're perhaps less wealthy in the game, then you might want to spare your Forzathon points and use credits. It's completely up to you. We've also got the Porsche 911 Singer for 550 Forzathon points. I'd like to apologise also for the inactivity message at the top of the screen. I've been in the pause menu for the whole time I've been recording this so far, so that's why it's kicked me out of my session, basically. I'm supposed to kind of go back into free roam after each thing to make sure it doesn't do that, but I always forget until it does this, so apologies for that. Anyway, back on topic, so 550 Forzathon points for that Singer. Not sure whether that's really worth it. I think that the car is it's a really, really nice car, but it's not as expensive as the 959 in the auto show as far as I'm aware. So it's completely up to you again. whether you purchase this here or in the auto show or in the auction house. Then we've also got the Hot Wheels t-shirt for 75 points, the Extreme E blue race suit for the same, and also for 75 Forzathon points is the Running Man emote. You know, if you like your character to do some form of performance at the end of a race, then that is probably one for you. Personally, I've just left it as default from the start of the game. I've also had the same outfit on my driver for probably about 2 years. But I do like car horns. Unfortunately, there aren't any car horns in the shop this week, but there are wheel spin and super wheel spin if you want to purchase one of those. Unless, you know, it's not like it's really easy to get them anyway. Bit of sarcasm there, but yeah, that is your Forzathon shop for the autumn season. Next up then for our sections, following that Forzathon section is the season events section, the second section, and probably the longest one. It will take us quite a while, but there's lots of fun things packed into it, starting off with a trial. Then we've got 2 times EventLabs, 2 times seasonal PR stunts, and this week we also have 3 seasonal championships to take a look at, so hopefully it will be a good section. And as always, we will start with the trial, which this week is called Wedge Races. It'll get you 10 points towards your playlist, and a 1995 Porsche 911 GT2, which is quite a nice car. The restriction for this one is A-Class Retro Supercars. So before we head over to my garage and I show you the screenshots of those car suggestions, I'll just quickly run through what the trial actually is. So it's a co-op mode, and basically you're part of one team on the co-op team system, and you're racing a team of 6 driver tars. Now your team can be randoms. It's up to 6 players. So if you run with a convoy, you can't have the normal convoy maximum of 12. It would have to be a maximum of 6 for you to enter the event. But if you enter it by yourself, or maybe with only 1 or 2 others, the rest of the lobby will be filled with randoms from anywhere around the world. And you basically just got to try and beat the team of driver tars by overtaking them. For each overtake you get 100 points, and then whoever's in first from either team gets 50-point bonus. So 150 points basically for whoever's in first towards your team. But the driver tars of course get points for overtaking your teammates as well, so therefore it requires a team effort. As a team, you've got to have more points than the driver has to be able to win each race, and it's a best of 3 set of races, so whoever reaches 2 wins first, 2 races won first, wins the championship basically. So obviously try not to ram your teammates, because you're not racing them, you're racing with them. But feel free to try and ram the driver tars, and I say try because it's actually quite difficult. They seem to be quite resistant to being rammed. So let's go and see which A-Class Retro Supercars I've got for this trial. And I do recommend that you do bring a tuned car to the trial, because it is one of the most challenging events in the festival playlist, especially because the driver tars are locked to unbeatable difficulty. Next up on the agenda for this season events section is our 2 seasonal event labs made by the community and chosen by the developers to feature in this week's festival playlist. So first up we have Horizon Dubai Old Town from Josie, a very renowned event lab creator in the community, featuring many times in the playlist and highly regarded amongst event lab creators and players in general. And the description for this one is simply that it is an S1 championship race. So that's all Josie is giving away with this. But it will get you 3 points towards the playlist and a 1992 Toyota Supra. And the restriction is S1 class retro supercars. So we've just seen A-Class Retro Supercars, and now I will show you which one of those I have got in S1 class. The second event lab of the week comes from John Boy 1782, and it is called Rallycross Island, and apparently is a complete revamp of an old Rallycross track which is locked to A-Class rally cars with driver tars off and collisions off as well. And completing this will get you 3 points and a Ferrari F355 Berlinetta. The restriction: Contrary to the creator's description, the developers have overridden that and locked it to S1 class rally monsters. So let's see which of those I've got for this one. Following on from our community contribution EventLabs, we now have 2 seasonal PR stunts to take a look at. And for this section of the video, we will also have some gameplay because I'll be showing you me completing them after we've run through the restriction and anything else you need to know before tackling these PR stunts. So I hope you look forward to seeing me possibly fail, but hopefully not. And of course I will show you me completing it if I do end up failing the first time around, to make sure you know. And that's just so you can kind of get an idea of what run up to take, what lines and where you need to be approaching the PR stunts from. But hopefully these two should be fairly simple this week. So the PR stunts this week are the Calais Principal Speed Trap and the Tray Ball Speed Zone. Both will earn you 2 points each towards the playlist and a super wheel spin. And the restriction for both of them is S1 class Lamborghini. So obviously you might not think it's not really very retro, but I suppose the way they've kind of decided that theme is because of the Countach and everything, the theme of that being retro. So it's S1 class Lamborghini. So I'll head to my garage now. I'll pop up the screenshots of which Lamborghinis I've got that I think are capable of completing these, and then I'll show you the clips of me completing them. Moving along from the department of seasonal PR stunts, we now have our seasonal championships to take a look at, and there are 3 of them this week. Now, a little bit about these seasonal championships. You can complete them in 3 modes. There's solo, co-op and PvP. Sorry, I've just accidentally clicked something there. So if you choose to do them in solo, you'll spawn back into free roam after each race. So don't get confused, you haven't been kicked out of the championship, you just need to drive or fast travel to each of the other events on the map. And you can identify them by firstly filtering to seasonal events on your map. That will narrow it down. And you can also tell which races are in your current championship because the colours on the icon will be reversed. So whereas here on these championships for all 3 of them, it is a red background with a white flag or symbol on top to symbolise which department of racing it is, that will be reversed, so it'll be a white background with a red icon on top of it, so you'll be able to tell which are in your current championship. And I'll put a little demonstration up on screen just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about there. If you choose to do it in co-op or PvP, personally I would avoid the PvP option because that means only one of you will receive the reward at the end of the championship, whereas if you do it in co-op, all of you will do, like in the trial. However, unlike the trial, it will be locked to highly skilled driver tars rather than unbeatable driver tars. So hopefully that makes sense. The first championship of the autumn season is Sylvia Surfer. It is based on road racing, and it will get you 5 points towards the playlist and a 2000 Nissan Silvia. And the restriction is A-Class retro sports cars. So let's head over and see which of those I've got. Second on the championship agenda for autumn is Sand Scorpion, which is based on cross-country racing. It will get you another 5 points and a Lamborghini LM002. The restriction for this one is B-Class pickups and 4x4s. We can now wrap up the season events section by taking a look at the final seasonal championship, which is Sunset Drive, this time based on street racing, and it will get you another 5 points towards the playlist plus a 1993 Nissan GTR. The restriction for this final championship is B-Class Retro Saloons, so let's see which of those I've got. That then wraps up the longest section of the playlist, the season event section, and it means we can move on to the third section, which is challenges. And this week in the challenges section we've got the photo challenge, Horizon Open challenge and a collectibles challenge to take a look at. So let's head over first to the photo challenge. This week's photo challenge is called hashtag Mr2 or MR2. And it will get you 2 points towards the festival playlist and also the clothing reward doodle pattern helmet if you wanted to equip that to your character. And hopefully it will be nice and simple because all it wants you to do is to photograph the 1989 Toyota MR2 SC at Palacio Azul del Oceano. Now, the only perhaps thing that you might get confused with there is where is that location? Well, basically, it is the hotel, and it is located right here. So I'll show that on the map for you and in free roam, so you can see. And you just need to park your Toyota MR2 somewhere there, and you also need to make sure that you're in the correct MR2. This is 1989 one. I believe there's also a 1995 MR2, or whichever one it is, the MR2 GT, but you need to make sure you're in this one at that location. Open up photo mode, position your shot however you want it to. Doesn't need to be anything fancy unless you want it to be fancy, and then click take photo. You should get 2 golden ticks and a golden sticker, and that should complete your photo challenge, hashtag MR2. Next up in the challenges section is a Horizon Open challenge, Wave Worldwide, which will get you 2 points and a Cat Wave car horn reward. That might be one of the new car horns that has been added in this series. I think there was 6 new car horns. One of them was in the Forzathon shop last week, but it may well be the case that this car horn reward here is also one of those 6 new Horizon Retrowave car horns. And if it is, I would highly recommend that you complete this challenge. Because all you need to do for it is complete any Horizon Open racing event in a car from the 1980s. So basically, you need to enter a Horizon Open racing event, and you can do that by accessing the Horizon Open icon in the online tab of your pause menu, which I will show here. You just need to go in there and complete a racing event. So you can click the normal open racing, or you can choose custom racing. And then you just need to hop in any car from the 1980s. So that's 1980 all the way up to 1989, up to and including 1989. It can be any car, any class, and then you just need to complete any event. So however many races there are in your event, just complete them all. You don't need to win anything, and that should complete the Horizon Open Challenge Wave Worldwide. Finally, for our short and sweet challenges section is Collectibles Sun Smash, which will get you another 3 points towards your playlist, and again, another possible new car horn with the Retrowave update, the Synth Horn car horn reward, another legendary car horn there. And all you need to do for this Collectibles challenge is smash 6 sunsets around Junas Blancas. So you may have noticed as part of the highway decoration that there is this kind of circular neon light thing that is supposed to resemble kind of a sunset. Well, basically, there's some of them been placed on the dunes of the Junas Blancas, which is located near Baja. I will show the location on the map for you. And you'll see them, and you can see on the icon here what they look like, and they'll be dotted around, hanging, slightly off the ground, so that you can smash through them. And you can do this in any car. On the picture here, it is in the Toyota Baja truck, but you can do it in any car, completely up to you. Just smash through 6 of them, and that will complete the challenge. Now, if there happens to be quite a lot of people in your Horizon Life lobby that are doing this at the same time, and that means that the sunsets are being smashed, there's perhaps not enough for you to do it, what you can do is you can go back into Solo, into Horizon Solo with all the driver tars, and then you can smash through them. Once you smash through one, you can then hit rewind, it'll reappear, and then you can go back and smash it again. If you do that 6 times, it should still count it. So that is a little trick if it happens to be that all of your sunsets are being smashed by other players. So hopefully that will complete the Collectibles challenge for you, Sun Smash. And that also wraps up the challenges section. Moving on from the challenges section, we are now able to take a look at the penultimate section of the festival playlist, which is the monthly events. And this contains all of the monthly rivals events for Series 34 Horizon Retrowave. So there's 2 of the traditional monthly rivals, and this month we've also got 2 Forza EV rivals. Now, as per the name suggests, they can be completed in any of the weeks of the month. You'll only have to complete them once, and it's completely up to you when you complete them. So it may be that you completed them last week, and if that is the case, you will not need to complete them again, and the points for those will automatically be added on to the rest of the season. So you'll start with a couple of extra points for each season. However, if you complete them this week, obviously winter and spring will start with the points that have been added on, and then the points that you would have had for summer will be added on to summer as well. Or alternatively, you could leave them till later in the series as well. You may complete one of them now and then complete the rest next week. It's completely up to you how you do it, but just make sure you complete them all before the end of the month if you want the points. Now, the way the points work is as follows. So as you can see, for each of these events, it says 4 points. That 4 points will be added onto your series total at the far left here, for each one of the monthly rivals that you complete, and then that 4 points will be divided by 4 because there's 4 seasons, so that will mean that you get 1 point added onto each season's total. So you'll start winter with 1 point, spring with 1 point, etc. But if you complete all of them at once, that will add 16 points onto your series, and then you'll start each season with 4 points, or 4 points will be added onto your season's total. So hopefully that will make sense. So the objective for these is the same for all of them. And like I said, you do have to complete them all, so completing one won't complete them all. You do have to do each of them separately, and they are in different cars on different tracks. So the first one is the Lamborghini Countach, the new one on Playa Azul Circuit. Then we've got the DeLorean on Las Laderas. We've got the Hyundai Envision 74 on Los Jardines Circuit. And we've got the Lotus Esprit on Descansa Torrado Sprint. And all you need to do for all of them is post a clean lap to complete, or more applicably to the Las Laderas and Descansa Dorado, post a clean time, because they are not obviously lapped events, they are sprint races. So basically, you just need to avoid doing any of these 3 things. So they are hitting walls or any other non-destructible objects, using rewind, and missing checkpoints or getting your car reset in some other way, because all of those will dirty your lap, and it'll leave an exclamation mark next to your time, which means that it's flagged, it won't count. So basically, you've got to avoid those 3 things and post a clean time. And you can do it at any pace you want, because you don't need to beat your rival. The objective is simply to post a clean time, so it doesn't matter what rival you're up against and how fast they are. As long as you yourself post a clean time, whatever time it is, that will complete each of these monthly rivals. And like I said, do that for all 4 of them. You get yourself 16 points added onto the series and 4 points added onto each season. Now then, we have reached the latter section of the festival playlist. I mean, technically it's 2 sections, but I like to group it into 1 section, the umbrella term of expansion events. And as you might expect, that covers the events on the Rally Adventure expansion and those on the Hot Wheels expansion. Now, of course, you do need to own these expansions to be able to access their respective events, and you can do that by purchasing them. You can purchase them as part of the expansions bundle, which gets you both expansions. The Rally Adventure expansion can be purchased on its own, but the Hot Wheels one can't. But the expansions are also included in the premium add-ons bundle, which also gets you the VIP pass, car packs, and car pass, and the welcome pack. And you also need to reach a certain point in their career modes to be able to access these events, so you won't be able to access the festival playlist events for these expansions as soon as you launch them. You will have to play through some of the career mode first in order to access them. So, we will run through their events now. Now, on each expansion there is a PR stunt and a seasonal championship. I'm not going to show the gameplay for the PR stunts on the expansions, but the same principles that I've explained earlier apply to both the PR stunts and the seasonal championships, so you can complete the championships in solo or co-op, amongst other things that I've mentioned. However, I will of course show you the tunes that I've got for them as well. So on the Rally Adventure expansion, we've got the Canyon Snap Danger Sign, which will get you 2 points and a super wheel spin, and the restriction for this one is B-Class Retro Rally. And then the same restriction applies to the Seasonal Championship, which is called Ren Over and Out. Based on the street racing side of Rally Adventure, it will get you 5 points and a Renault 5 Turbo. So let's see which Retro Rally cars I've got first before we move on to the Hot Wheels expansion. Finally then, we can finish with the events on the Hot Wheels expansion, where we have the Forest Escape Danger Sign, earning you 2 points and a super wheel spin, and the Chevy Set Go Seasonal Championship, based on speed events, which will get you 5 points and a Chevy Monte Carlo, both of which require the restriction S1 class retro supercars. Now, if you remember from earlier, we had S1 retro supercars for the first event lab, so I'm not going to show those cars again, and you can reference that event lab for the recommendations for that if you need them. Right then guys, so concluding those expansion events concludes the final section of the playlist, meaning we've completed all 5 sections, we've covered all of the challenges, and we've reached the end of this full festival playlist walkthrough for the autumn storm season of Series 34 Horizon Retrowave. Now, I thoroughly hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could show your support by liking the video. You can also subscribe to the channel for more content that I'll be releasing. Obviously, these guys are released every week to the best of my ability, where technology doesn't get in the way. And also, if you turn notifications on, you'll obviously get notifications when I go live or upload content. I haven't gone live much recently, only once this year in fact, but hopefully once my schedule frees up, I'll be able to do some more live streams over the next couple of months. But I'll be back next week with the guide for the winter dry season, where our new exclusive reward is the 1980 Lotus Esprit. But until then, I hope you enjoy completing this week's challenges, working towards your BMW M6 and 850 CSI, and of course the series rewards of the Envision 74 and the DeLorean. So, I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.